Tetairoa McMillan's transfer to the Kansas City Chiefs has completely shaken up the balance of the league. With this move, the Chiefs, who already had one of the strongest cores in the NFL, have now elevated their offense to an entirely new level. Pairing a generational quarterback like Patrick Mahomes with a legendary veteran like Travis Kelce, and now adding a young, explosive wide receiver creates a nightmare scenario for every opposing defense. The Chiefs' arsenal is now so loaded that rival coaches will lose sleep trying to game plan against them. No one will know where Mahomes is going to throw the ball next, and defenses won't be able to decide which star they should try to contain. McMillan's athleticism, hands, and explosiveness on the field could make Kansas City's passing game virtually unstoppable. This season won't just be another championship chase for Kansas City, it's shaping up to be a dynastic power statement. If injuries don't get in the way, the only thing that can slow this team down is themselves. When fans talk about legendary rosters in NFL history, this year's Chiefs already look destined to be part of that conversation. In short, with McMillan's arrival, the Chiefs aren't just preparing to beat opponents, they're preparing to dominate the entire league. And for many fans, the conclusion is clear. This year, the Lombardi Trophy is heading back to Kansas City. The Kansas City Chiefs now find themselves steering through perilous waters as the looming specter of a major suspension threatens to sideline one of their most pivotal offensive weapons. Rashee Rice, who rapidly emerged as a dependable target within the Chiefs' explosive aerial assault, faces the sobering prospect of missing significant time due to mounting legal entanglements, casting a long, ominous shadow over the team's preparation for the forthcoming season. Rice's predicament extends far beyond the individual athlete. The young wideout stands charged with a collision causing severe bodily harm, as well as reckless highway racing resulting in injury, allegations that carry weighty ramifications both in the courtroom and within the professional realm. Though the NFL has indicated he will be eligible to suit up for at least the opening 4 contests, his formal hearing is slated shortly thereafter, with the league's disciplinary committee holding ultimate authority to render judgment based on the gravity of the charges and surrounding circumstances. This legal cloud has thrust the Chiefs' front office into an unenviable balancing act, supporting their embattled player while simultaneously bracing for the very real possibility of losing one of their premier receiving threats for an extended duration. The timing is particularly daunting, coinciding with the critical window in which rosters are finalized and offensive strategies solidified. The potential absence of Rice has already triggered a ripple effect throughout the organization, compelling coaches and executives alike to reevaluate their depth chart and identify contingency plans. Rice's versatility, able to line up both in the slot and outside the numbers, made him an indispensable component of Kansas City's scheme, offering Patrick Mahomes a precision route runner capable of generating separation in high-leverage moments. Fully cognizant of the stakes, Chiefs decision-makers have begun exploring every avenue to offset the looming shortfall at receiver. The franchise knows its championship ambitions could be jeopardized if reinforcements are not secured swiftly. As a result, speculation has intensified around potential trades, free agent pickups, and internal adjustments to stabilize the receiving core. One of the most compelling possibilities is the pursuit of veteran wideout Hunter Renfrow, currently in a tenuous situation with the Carolina Panthers. Renfrow offers an appealing option not only because of his proven consistency, but also due to his extensive familiarity with the AFC West. Having spent the first 5 years of his career with the Raiders, one of Kansas City's fiercest rivals, Renfrow carved out a reputation as one of the league's most dependable slot specialists, amassing numbers that underscored both his reliability and productivity.
His capacity to deliver in high-stakes, pressure-packed environments has long defined his reputation. Across 5 seasons, he amassed 2,120 receiving yards, with an impressive 76.3% catch rate and 17 touchdowns, statistics that underscore his dependability and precision as a possession receiver. Renfrow's knack for locating soft zones in coverage and generating separation through meticulous route running made him a trusted lifeline for Raiders quarterbacks and a recurring nightmare for opposing defensive coordinators. Yet Renfrow's career arc veered unexpectedly when he missed the entirety of the 2024 season due to injury. a setback that cast doubt on his long-term durability and market appeal. Nevertheless, his standing as an elite route technician with reliable hands endured, paving the way for his signing with the Carolina Panthers, who sought veteran stability for their receiving corps. However, Carolina's trajectory has shifted, with significant investment in emerging wideouts like Ted McMillan, Jimmy Horn, Jalen Coker, and Xavier Legette, all battling for prominent roles, plus the continued productivity of veteran Adam Thielen. The receiver room has become overcrowded, potentially squeezing Renfrow out of a meaningful role. This convergence has fueled speculation about a mutually advantageous trade scenario. The Kansas City Chiefs, facing a glaring need for dependable slot production, appear as the ideal landing spot. From Carolina's perspective, parting with Renfrow could unlock opportunities for their younger core while yielding draft capital or assets critical to their rebuilding phase. For Kansas City, Renfrow embodies exactly the savvy, experienced presence required to stabilize the offense during Rashee Rice's looming absence. Renfrow's AFC West pedigree gives him a built-in advantage. His deep familiarity with the defensive tendencies of Denver, Los Angeles, and his former Raiders squad would drastically shorten any adjustment period. Strategically, his skill set dovetails perfectly with Kansas City's offensive architecture. While Xavier Worthy stretches defenses vertically, Mahomes still lacks a chain-moving security blanket underneath. Renfrow's proficiency from the ears, slot, particularly on short and intermediate routes, could solve that puzzle instantly. Head coach Andy Reid has consistently prized receivers who rely on technical mastery and tactical precision rather than raw athleticism. Renfrow's career foundation, sharp routes, spatial awareness, and fearless catches in traffic, fits that philosophy seamlessly. Moreover, his experience in post-season firefights equips him with the poise required to thrive when possessions carry championship weight. Financially, a deal is feasible. Renfrow's contract with Carolina is structured in a manner that would not cripple Kansas City's salary cap, allowing the Chiefs to acquire him without dismantling other areas of the roster. For a franchise dancing near the cap ceiling, this flexibility is invaluable. Beyond his on-field contributions, Renfrow's professionalism could mentor Kansas City's younger receivers, accelerating their growth while instilling the nuances of Reid's system. That form of veteran guidance often proves priceless to championship-caliber squads. Timing is another advantage, with Rice's disciplinary hearings slated after the first 4 contests. Kansas City can assess their current arsenal while keeping Renfrow as insurance if the suspension becomes reality. This layered strategy maintains adaptability without sacrificing depth. Ultimately, acquiring Hunter Renfrow would represent far more than a routine roster addition. It could be the strategic masterstroke that safeguards Kansas City's offensive rhythm and sustains their championship aspirations. His resume, divisional familiarity, and complementary skill set position him as an ideal reinforcement for a team determined to remain on top. So what's your verdict? Would Hunter Renfrow be the missing piece to the Chiefs' receiving puzzle? Share your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button if you believe Kansas City should pull the trigger, and subscribe for ongoing updates on every move shaping the Chiefs' quest for another Lombardi Trophy. Patrick Mahomes stands at the heart of a dynasty teetering between brilliance and chaos. riddled with injuries, surprise breakout stars, and bold trade whispers. As Kansas City braces for another stormy NFL summer, an electrifying saga unfolds. One that will challenge loyalties, demand evolution, and ultimately determine whether the Chiefs can prolong their championship dominance or crumble under the strain of a rapidly evolving roster. From Isaiah Pacheco's uphill resurgence to a rookie lineman's miraculous rehab, from a forgotten wideout turning heads to explosive trade murmurs and the tantalizing prospect of acquiring a generational tight end, let's dive into the seismic shifts reshaping Kansas City. But before we unpack the drama, could I ask a quick favor? If you enjoy our content, please hit that like button. It's a simple gesture that fuels this community. Thank you kindly. Isaiah Pacheco. A comeback or a curtain call? Fans still replay the electrifying flashes from Pacheco's early days in Kansas City. His razor-sharp cuts, relentless drive through loaded fronts, and clutch fourth-quarter bursts that propelled back-to-back AFC title runs. But in 2024, that once unrelenting force cracked under the weight of injuries and attrition. A nagging knee injury sidelined him for half the season, casting a shadow over his promising ascent. His return sparked cautious hope, a shot at rekindling the fire that produced 830 yards and 5 scores as a rookie, followed by an even more explosive 935-yard, 7-touchdown campaign in 2023. But every carry lacked its old electricity. He limped to just 310 yards and 1 touchdown, a stat line almost unrecognizable. Enter Connor Orr of Sports Illustrated, whose latest bombshell ignited Chiefs Kingdom. Kansas City's leading rusher in 2025 may not currently be on the roster. Orr's forecast is driven not by spite, but by sharp analytics. The 2025 running back class is stacked, deeper and more dynamic than previous years, potentially triggering a post-camp free agent frenzy. Orr believes Kansas City will dive into that pool, seeking fresh firepower rather than wagering on Pacheco's return to form. It's not a slight, it's strategic insurance. Will the Chiefs double down on their homegrown bruiser, or hedge their bets with outside competition? Their decision will define not just Pacheco's future, but the identity of the entire offense. Josh Simmons, the silent guardian in waiting on paper, the Chiefs' O-line looked formidable, even after parting with Joe Thuney. But in reality, Mahomes' blind side begged for reinforcement. That's why Kansas City traded up for Ohio State's Josh Simmons at number 22, a move that screamed urgency. Towering at 6'5", 317 lbs, Simmons was once hailed as a future cornerstone, until a devastating torn patellar tendon during the college football playoff cast doubt on his draft stock. But the injury allowed him to slip into Kansas City's grasp. At OTAs, coach Andy Reid was visibly impressed. "He's ahead of schedule," he said, eyes gleaming. Simmons isn't taking full reps yet, but the plan is meticulous. Build his confidence in individual drills, then unleash him against elite defenders like Chris Jones and George Karlaftis. ESPN's Adam Teicher recently declared, "If Simmons is healthy, he's your Week 1 starter at left tackle." That means veteran Jalen Moore, signed as an insurance policy, might never crack the huddle. For Simmons, it's a trial by fire, and a chance to become the immovable object shielding Kansas City's greatest asset. Tyquan Thornton. From forgotten to flashy, even in a star-studded receiver room, featuring Marquise, Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice, Juju Smith-Schuster, and rookie sensation Xavier Worthy, Chiefs coaches continue to chase hidden gems. On a blazing Thursday afternoon, one emerged, Tyquan Thornton. The former Baylor burner, once a second-round pick by New England, stole the spotlight with 2 jaw-dropping catches at OTAs that left defenders flailing. "He was everywhere," tweeted Pete Sweeney. Thornton's NFL journey has been turbulent. Flashes of brilliance drowned in injuries and inconsistency. But his collegiate finale, 62 receptions, 948 yards, 10 TDs, is a reminder of his true ceiling. Thank you guys, see you next video.